Kendrick Lamar is absolutely, positively dominating 2025 in a crazy way. But I could be wrong, but does it? Am I the only one that feels like there's certain hip hop platforms or that are just not talking about it or like not covering it or covering other things? I've seen more people that are covering Baka Not Nice to Women over what Kendrick's doing right now. So I thought I'd make a video about it. And shout out to Hip Hop All Day because they are the ones who are covering this. Now look at this, and I'll show you that it's a little weird what's going on right now. Kendrick Lamar's GNX is now the highest selling album in 2025 across all genres, surpassing Bad Bunny. Hold on. Hold on. Protect hip hop culture at all costs. This is more important than ever. Link in the pin comment. Go grab that, bro. It's more than merch. It's a mission statement. I'm sending personal thank you videos to everybody who grabs it in the next 4 days. But it's weird because this metric, to me, is the biggest metric to all the metric people. Like we said, it ain't always about the numbers in it, but I'm talking about the platforms that cover numbers, talk about things. GNX is the highest selling album across all genres this year. There was some platforms that were actually saying "Sexy Songs for You" was the highest selling album of 2025. But then I realized they kind of did like a little LeBron stat thing with the words. Where if you watch ESPN, you know I love LeBron. Shout out to the King. Shout out to the GOAT. But I'm saying where they're going that was dropped in 2025. No, not the highest selling album 2025. That was dropped in 2000, which is a weird thing to cover. I mean, it's not weird to cover. You can cover that, but to not then cover the highest selling album of all genres of this year, and it's a hip hop album. That's why I'm talking about this. This is hip hop. This is something that we should all celebrate. It's not just hip hop all day. Now, not only that, but let's go back to this. Shout out to Hip Hop All Day. Let's look at this for a second. Kendrick Lamar is dominating 2025. This is what made me want to make this video because I was like, there is no way this dude accomplished all of this as a rapper. There is no way that the highest selling album is a rap album of all genres. And there's no way more people aren't talking about it. Look at all of the things that Kendrick has done this year. Most streamed song in the US, Luther. To all the streaming people, I don't like, there's some people covering some of these, but not all of them. This should be everywhere. Highest selling, but I got a platform, so I'm gonna use my platform to cover this. Highest selling album in all genres, GNX. We already said that. That is such a crazy stat. That is such a crazy stat. Highest selling song by pure sales, not like us. This is going back to when people were saying like, oh, people don't buy albums anymore. Oh, music doesn't sell the way it does. Well, everything is, nobody buys physicals, pure sales, right? So this is everything that calculated to make the sales. The highest selling song, not hip hop song. Highest selling song by total units, Luther. This is insane. Most weeks spent at the #1 on Billboard Hot 100. And here's going to be the thing. There's going to be some people who see these stats and be like, wait, I thought this, no. Yeah, no, these are all true. And it's just not, like I said, there are more people covering Baka, acting like there was no paperwork on him than this, which is weird to me. And I'm saying you could be something like, oh, I don't cover the numbers, but this is more than numbers. This is the fact that hip hop is dominating. It's not an R&B hip hop. This is a hip hop album that is dominating. All hip hop platforms should be covering this. So as they aren't, I'll do my part. All right. Most weeks spent at the #1 on Billboard 200 of any rapper. One more time. Most weeks spent at #1 on Billboard 200 of Who? Any rapper. I don't even understand the numbers debates anymore. Like numbers wise, he's out of here. He's out of here. So highest peak of Spotify monthly listens of any rapper. We knew that one. That one was covered, which is still insane. That's more than Eminem, more than Drake, more than any. So he's doing things that aren't just big for hip hop, right? Which would be enough. I hate when people be like, oh, it's just hip hop. What do you mean just hip hop? No, no, no. But I'm saying that it is crossing beyond the culture of hip hop. It is crossing beyond just the club that we're in. It is going to everything. Everything. The dude went pop by battle rapping. The dude went pop by just dropping a great album. The dude went pop by just doing good rap music. Most streamed songs of any rapper on Spotify in 2025. Say that again. Most streamed song of any rapper on Spotify in 2025. Most streamed album of any rapper in 2025. This is essentially like winning the championship, winning MVP, winning the play-ins, winning every metric that is like a major metric when it comes to metrics in of music. He has dominated all of them. Now I want to just go check, right? Because one page, shout out to Fantana for hitting 1 million. One page that that I follow, and they even follow me. So shout out to NFR Podcast. I'm not even somebody who hates on them and all, but I'm just saying the truth. I literally want to ask. It's starting to feel like the NFR Podcast is just becoming like a Drake machine. And I'm gonna say this because usually they're not like this, And they're a great Twitter page to follow. But just look at this. Of all of the things that I've said, of all of the accolades that he covered, which one of these have they covered? Okay, so Drake and Aiden Ross, they're promoting that. Playboy Cardi, Kim Carson, Cardi, Drake. Okay. Kanye banned on Twitter. Will GNX go down as a classic album? No stats, though. No stats. Just will it go down as a classic album? Not is it a classic album? Which is a good question. Is a good question to pull up. If you ask me, right now, I think it's still too early to decide for me because I'm a type of person that I need about 2 good years before I say something classic because you get caught up in the moment. Other people aren't like that, so I get that. But as of right now, if you put a gun to my head and told me to answer, I would say yes. I wouldn't say that it's ranking in Kendrick's albums of classic. It's his most classic, but the moment it's tied around and everything that came from this, it makes it classic. So you can't detach it from. It's like Who Shot You is classic, not just because of the song or the numbers or what it sold. It was because what it was attached around. That song was said not to be even about Pac, but it was anyway. So that's a tangent. But let's keep scrolling. April 9th. Nothing. You would think at least you would cover it being like the highest selling hip hop album. Nothing. So here's the weird thing, because you might be like, maybe they're not covering numbers. Drake surpasses the Beatles and they put that up. And that's just Drake beating the Beatles. That's not the highest selling album in hip hop. So it's like weird here. Then there's the Drake there. Then the Drake Nokia. Then the Baka Not Nice. It's feeling very like, okay, it's one thing you could cover whatever you want. Drake extends his record as the artist with the most top 5 ever. Why are you only covering one person's accolades though? As a Twitter page. Nokia. It's one thing if you're supposed to be covering everybody's stuff, right? It's one thing if you're pro everybody. That's cool, right? But it's just seeming that it's very weird that none of Kendrick's feats are being covered, and it seems like all of Drake's are. And it's one thing to be like a YouTuber or something like that, but NFR, I don't expect that from. It's starting to feel like that's there's something going on. Now let's see if Double XL said anything about it. Let's see. I'm scrolling. Rest in peace to Proof. Let's see. Double XL. I'm not seeing anything. This is, but they post a lot, so I'm scrolling. Lots of Kanye, lots of Big U stuff. And I'm not just ironically just popped up. All right, we're at April 9th. I'm not seeing anything. So it's not just NFR podcast. I don't want to make them like the scapegoat of all this. Same Baka Not Nice. It just seems like a lot of people aren't covering it. I don't know why. I'm not going to call them compromise out the gate, but it definitely feels like there's a concerted effort to keep this stuff quiet. But not over here. So shout out.